MAGA is turning on Donald Trump in a way we've never seen. They sense the collapse coming. The Epstein scandal isn't just another controversy. It's the beginning of the end for a man whose influence is visibly fading. MAGA media can't defend him. Republicans in Congress are peeling away, and even his own base is drifting. Trump is losing it. And now a former White House advisor has detonated the biggest blow, yet a leak of shocking Epstein footage that's sending the scandal into overdrive and throwing Trump into panic mode. Before getting into the advisor behind this bombshell, we need to look at Adam Schiff's warning about the revelations still ahead and why Senate Republicans are suddenly breaking ranks and turning against Trump.
Well, this goes to a central question about that whole interview, and that is, why didn't Todd Blanche actually bring someone familiar with the case? One of the prosecutors who had handled the case, that would know the facts, that would know when Maxwell was lying, when she was telling the truth. Now, one of those prosecutors was James Comey's daughter, who was fired from the Justice Department. But he brought no one who knew the facts and no one who could press Maxwell, test whether she's telling the truth. That, of course, was deliberate because getting the truth from Maxwell was not the object. Getting an exonerating statement, exonerating testimony for Donald Trump was the object. And, of course, it appears that that resulted in Maxwell being transferred to this, minimum security concierge service providing institution that is not suitable for sex offenders. So, on the one hand, it raises profound questions about why Blanche wasn't prepared and didn't know the facts. But more than that, it really underscores what Amanda said, and that is, we need a real investigation here. If they didn't have the emails from the estate, it's because Kash Patel didn't ask for them, didn't subpoena them, didn't want them. I think we see in these emails that are now dribbling out just why Bondi and Patel don't want to release what they already have and don't want to do the thorough investigation that was apparently never done by the government.
I have so many questions for you about this trove of emails, which I'm sure you haven't read all 23,000 pages. But just, I know we're living in a time where what the consequences that should happen don't always happen. We obviously can't unwind and go back in time and have Todd Blanche bring someone with him. As you said, he didn't intend to do that clearly. Ghislaine Maxwell, as you said, was transferred to a more minimum security prison where she's apparently playing with puppies and taking yoga classes. What should happen? You said an investigation should happen. In normal times, obviously she should be transferred back, right? What else should happen given these revelations from these emails that she seemed to have lied multiple times?
Well, we should be doing oversight in Congress. Republicans should be helping to do that oversight to find out who made the decision to transfer her to this, sort of cushy prison. Who made that call? When I asked Kash Patel about it in the Judiciary Committee, he claimed that it was the Bureau of Prisons, and the Bureau of Prisons made that decision on their own. He knew nothing about it. The Justice Department wasn't involved somehow. That was the import of his testimony. That just doesn't pass the credibility test. So, number one, we need to do oversight in Congress. But number two, the Justice Department needs to do a real investigation. They need to release publicly what they have. These emails have already shed, I think, some significant light. I was really struck by something Donald Trump said over the summer when he acknowledged having a falling out with Epstein because Epstein was taking girls from Mar-a-Lago. And I remember asking myself, what did he think Epstein was doing with those girls? And now we see one of those emails that just came out makes reference to this when Epstein, I think, is telling Maxwell or telling someone else in those emails, well, of course he knew. That's why there was essentially this dispute over taking girls from Donald Trump or from Mar-a-Lago. So these emails are already shedding light. The White House is engaged in its usual sort of blitzkrieg of denials. But there needs to be a real investigation here, a serious investigation.
Things could not be going much worse for Donald Trump. And as I have said before, what is not in the Epstein files may ultimately be more damaging to Trump than what is already in them. New testimony from survivors, former officials willing to speak publicly, and photos or videos that were never written down or emailed are now emerging. Ever since Pam Bondi declared the Epstein files closed, everything has begun opening up again. We are also seeing clearer ties between Trump's closest allies and Jeffrey Epstein. The most damaging link right now is Steve Bannon. Newly released emails show that Epstein and Bannon were in contact far more often and more directly than anyone knew. These emails include discussions about overseas access, political strategy, and Epstein even offering advice during the Brett Kavanaugh hearings. The House Oversight Committee released messages where Epstein pitched meetings with world leaders and Bannon warned him that a crazed jihad was coming for him. The messages have renewed interest in the 12 to 15 hours of Epstein footage that Bannon recorded in 2019. Even right-wing figures like Roger Stone, Ben Shapiro, and Benny Johnson are demanding that he release the tapes. This raises a crucial question. Why was Steve Bannon, who was fired from the White House but remained close to Trump, suddenly working to rehabilitate Epstein's image within a year of leaving the administration? Why was he helping him? Why he tell Epstein he was in the gun sights? And what exactly did that mean? These questions matter because Donald Trump has spent his entire political career using the government against people he views as enemies. He publicly instructed Pam Bondi to go after James Comey, Letitia James, and Adam Schiff. So why would he not go after someone like Epstein, someone who could destroy him if he ever talked? If Trump is willing to smear his opponents publicly without evidence, then what was he willing to do privately? What actions did his administration take behind closed doors? And why is that question not being asked loudly right now? Representative Eric Swalwell recently told Republicans and their staff to preserve their emails and lawyer up. He warned that once Democrats regain the majority, investigations and accountability are guaranteed. The moment Swalwell began speaking in those terms, Trump immediately attacked him, and Swalwell is now responding.
Consequences. And a year from now, we are going to win the majority. And that's what we learned last Tuesday when California voters stood up against Donald Trump. And when we're in the majority, we will have subpoena power and accountability will happen. So Bill Pulte and any other lawless official who is carrying out these political prosecutions on behalf of Donald Trump, they should familiarize themselves with the Judiciary Committee room because they're going to be spending a lot of time there answering questions. And I sure hope everything they did was above board.
Congressman, even as you talk about the House of Representatives, there's new reporting today from our colleagues at MSNBC that you are eyeing a run for governor of California. Does the timing of the president's legal actions against you change your thinking? And do you believe he is more concerned about you as a sitting member of Congress or as a candidate for governor of California?
Well, no news on running for governor. I think we have enough news for one day for me. And no, I'm not going to change a single thing about what I do to stand up against Donald Trump when he gets in the way of me fighting for Californians. And look, California is the greatest country in the world. Its next governor has to be excellent. That person has to be a fighter and a protector. But I'm telling you right now, I am not going to shrink one bit because of Donald Trump trying to intimidate me. And it's not working with any of the other colleagues that he's gone after either.
I don't think these pieces of the puzzle are distant or difficult to put together. It is actually very simple. The way Trump has weaponized the government against his opponents has to be viewed in the context of Epstein. These issues are connected, and they demand real scrutiny. We're going to keep asking those questions, keep exposing what others want hidden, and keep pushing for the truth. Don't let anyone silence